I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
And welcome to Fright Fight.
Get up and kill!
So in Fright Fight, what we do is we take two horror franchises and we put them head to head to figure out who is the superior horror character, horror franchise, horror movie, whatever it may be.
And this week we got Freddy vs. Jason, original Friday the 13th versus original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I am pretty excited for this one.
This is pretty much the two grandfathers of the 80s horror genre, the thing that really kicked off horror. I know for me anyway.
As it is today, really. I mean, every single horror film you see today is influenced by these two juggernauts. It's great.
We're putting them head to head, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Very first movie, Nightmare on Elm Street versus Friday the 13th. Okay, start right off the bat, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven, yeah, directed by Wes Craven. It's everybody knows the story. It's, you know, child killer, not molester, haunts Springwood, haunts the dreams of teenagers and kills them in their sleep. So yeah, it's pretty much Freddy Krueger is a little different in this movie, as you kind of know him. He's not the same Freddy Krueger that does rap albums. Definitely happened, by the way. Not Freddy Krueger.
That's actually news to me.
It's time for Freddy. See, I'm a popular guy. If you don't know yet, you're gonna find out why.
The next one we watched was
Friday the 13th. Essentially what happens is some guy tries to reopen up a cursed camp, and kids start up dying. How sad.
first round, right off the bat, characters.
For me personally, I'm going to have to go with Friday the 13th. I really like the situations the movie sets up for the characters. There isn't a lot of like character dialogue that kind of explains who they are, but it's the interactions between them that I feel makes them stronger characters.
I disagree, actually. I figured the exact opposite. I like the Nightmare on Elm Street. You have the characters that are they do develop. You know, they do learn. They literally learn. They learn the rules of their universe. When I say Nightmare on Elm Street, I know Nancy and Tina and Glenn. And
Fair
so much
enough.
Rod.
Yeah,
with Friday the 13th,
they are
like,
just kind of canon
I could tell you
fodder.
to name as many characters, and you probably couldn't do it.
I couldn't name.
Yeah, with
Kevin Bacon.
Ralph doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean Kevin Bacon's ass does have the best scene in the movie. Not really, but
No, but
it's in there. It's in the movie.
Yeah, best performance. Well, they did say
Best performance by an ass cheek. I'll give it that.
They did say that Friday the 13th takes place over a full moon.
So starting off for the second round, I think we're going to go with best kills. Obviously, a movie, it's got to have some good kills, otherwise you're not going to watch it. And I think the consensus is pretty unanimous for us. Nightmare on Elm Street has
hands down
the most memorable kills on film.
But your favorite kill is not my favorite kill.
My favorite kill from Nightmare on Elm Street is probably just Glenn dying. Just ceiling of blood is pretty great.
My favorite kill is Tina.
It is pretty great.
That gimbal scene, just floating around. It's such a great effect, and it's done so well. But yeah, I gotta go with Tina. Friday the 13th, at this point, doesn't really have a whole lot of memorable kills.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Bacon does have a pretty good death scene. It's just an arrow straight through the bottom of the bed. And it's definitely surprising because like there's a couple throat cuts and all. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what's going to happen because, you know, he got grabbed. And then next thing you know, it's just, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's funny because that'll bring us to our next round of not just, you know, best kills, which we both agree, Nightmare on Elm Street gets those. Just overall kills, who has the higher body count. While there are not as many on-screen deaths, in Friday the 13th you have 10 character deaths, whereas in Nightmare on Elm Street you only have 4. So yeah, Friday the 13th, total winner.
Oh yeah, just Friday the 13th just knows how to put more bodies on the screen.
So from body count, we go straight to score. Nightmare on Elm Street, you have the score of Charles Bernstein versus Friday the 13th's Harry Manfredini.
I'm glad you remembered that because I sure as hell did.
So, for me, it's a pretty simple choice on this one. I went with Friday the 13th. I think it's just a much better score. It builds better. It's just the whole theme. Like, as much as I love the Nightmare on Elm Street theme, and I love the synth sound, like it definitely helps that movie. It's great for that time. Jason is a totally different movie, or Friday the 13th is a totally different movie. So it's it's slower. It's a little bit more drawn out, and the theme for Friday the 13th kind of works in the same way that Jaws does. It builds up and creeps along because the character creeps along. It's more of a stalker character. Freddy is more of a in-your-face, loud, and I know that's something that you said that you didn't really like. You didn't like about Nightmare on Elm Street. So,
yeah, I felt that Friday's use of non-music was stronger, and I think for me, I always kind of consider that part of the score because putting music in its correct spot at the correct time can make or break a movie. And for me, Nightmare was just kind of too over-reliant on its soundtrack that it kind of broke me out a couple times from being immersed in the movie. So that's why I know we kind of disagree on that, but that's why I feel about it. Obviously, Nightmare, the 1, 2, and all that, like that chant and all that's so memorable. And I think that's probably got a better mainstay than Jason's overall score. But in terms of servicing the movie, I would have to agree Friday the 13th is just stronger, knows how to play its strengths a lot better, I think is how I would describe it.
yeah.
Where's your pass? Screw your pass.
Hey, Nancy. No running in the hallway.
So we're going to go to the last category here, best overall film. And this is the film we think that, despite all the other categories we discussed, is just a better cohesive film and a better experience. And for me, I'm just going to have to go with Friday the 13th. Obviously, I've been leaning that side the entire night. But Friday's pacing is very slow, but it doesn't feel tedious. I felt like during Nightmare, there were a couple times I almost wanted to check my phone just to see how far we were into the movie, because I felt like it dabbled into scenes that kind of didn't really go anywhere and didn't pay off. As where in 13, everything just kind of immediately builds up to the next thing. There's never a stopping moment because it's over the course of one night. It's all happening right now, and I think that works in its favor.
Yeah, it definitely keeps everything kind of more cohesive, more kind of locked in. So yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm gonna go totally different route. I'm gonna go with Nightmare on this one. Even though it's, I will admit, going back and watching them, because it's been a while since I've actually watched both of them, all the way through instead of just kind of having them up like a horror marathon kind of thing. Going back watching all of them through, Friday the 13th is much stronger than I remember. But overall, Nightmare on Elm Street, it's more memorable. It's definitely the movie that I will, by the end of this year, watch Nightmare on Elm Street again, maybe more than once. Friday the 13th, probably not so much.
It's got a death curse.
Okay, so scores are tallied. Pretty simple to figure out. I'm Nightmare.
13.
Yeah. So, well, that
I mean, to be fair, it's both movies have really good strengths. They both have their weaknesses, and obviously these movies wouldn't start their franchises they did if they weren't solid first installments. So, I think for this, I mean, obviously we wanted to figure out which one's the best, but this one I feel like it's just kind of up in the air, and it's really up into your interpretation. Obviously, Nightmare is a much better boogeyman kind of movie, and then Freddy is a good slow burning kind of slasher flick, and I like both. I'll watch them both again, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges, and it's good actually that if it was all just one consensus, this would be kind of a simple show because it wouldn't be
pretty
Fright
fucking
Fight.
boring,
It would just be like it would be Fright Beatdown, and that's not what it is. It's an actual fight. So,
Morality sucks.
all right. So if you made it to the end of the video, congratulations. You're braver than us. But since you made it this far,
Let me ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing, please.
Might as well like us. Might as well follow us on Twitter
Or Facebook.
or our Tumblr.
Do we have an Instagram?
We'll make one. Instagram.
We'll make one.
We'll make one. We'll have an Instagram. So yeah, hit all that shit because you want to see more of this.
I know you do.
We're gonna get better.
Less shitty, maybe, hopefully.
We'll go. Yeah.
Moderately neato.